of the three-part webinar series that we put together to help our real estate subscribers. And today we're going to be focusing on how to set up customer journeys so that you can nurture leads at every part of your funnel. So I think just starting off, just to give you a little bit of context here, is that remember, it doesn't take one engagement, for you guys to get a lead to move down the funnel until, to closure. So nurturing is really, really important. If you remember in part one, we spoke about setting up and configuring your LeadSquared account. We then spent quite a bit of time working through your leads, and basically we then focused on all the different kinds of activities and tasks. And at the end of the day, what we've done is we've created a whole lot of information and data that's sitting inside LeadSquared that you can now use in your marketing journeys. So what I want to do today, or use as an example, is that if you just remember the structure of the real estate agency that we've been working with throughout this three-part webinar series, is that we've got Chantal, the principal, we've got an admin person, a marketing person, a sales manager, and 2 sales agents. In this instance, the example that we're going to use today is Chantal's just signed a mandate to sell a few apartments in Apple Road in a suburb called Linden. And naturally, the goal here would be to sell these apartments as quickly as possible. And over and above this, giving the seller that's given us the opportunity to sell these apartments an incredible experience for future mandates, referrals, etc. And we also want to be able to work through all the possible buyers as in the most efficient way. And now these apartments that are in this listing that we've just signed up are selling between R1 million and 1.6 million rand. So what I want to do today is make it as practical as possible and show you how I would go about building a customer journey to handle this new listing that I've created. Okay, so the first thing is that there's a couple of things that I want you to understand. So just like I explained to you in earlier parts, what the difference is between a sales group and a sales team, I explained to you the difference between an activity and a task. Now I want you to understand the difference between a broadcast or an email campaign versus a marketing journey. Now, the best way to explain this, and why I say broadcast, is because some of you have become accustomed to using different terminology over the years. But a broadcast or an email campaign would be a once-off emailer that you sending off at a specific time, like when you are getting when you have got a new property that you've just listed and you want to notify your buyers about it. Now, why you wouldn't make that part of your journey is because that property is going to sell at some point, and so it's not going to be something that's available all the time. Now, another example of a broadcast or a once-off email campaign would be something like a monthly newsletter. Again, if you think about the content of a newsletter, it changes on a month-to-month basis or a week-to-week basis, depending on how often you send it out. And once again, another example would be sending out an email broadcast to your customers about an update in interest rates. So I hope that clarifies for you what a broadcast emailer is or an email campaign. It's a once-off action that you take to communicate. Whereas on the other hand, a marketing journey is a series of communication. And today we're going to be looking at email specifically. But when we talk about a series of communication, this could be anything like email, SMS, WhatsApp, depending on the channels that you use inside your LeadSquared account. And you can create this journey that is preset up, but will be delivered to consumers based on activities they take, specific triggers dates and tasks that users complete. So just a couple of examples there. If a buyer, for example, completes a form with information about their property requirements, all right, the next emailer could be triggered off based on that activity that a buyer has taken. Let's say a consumer visits your website and sends you a contact us request, then you would send off an emailer. Maybe it's like a welcome emailer, thanks for reaching out to us, but that is triggered based off the activity that a buyer has taken. Likewise, if you think about, a lot of you have asked, how do we set up autoresponders for when a buyer sends you an inquiry on a property portal? That is also a journey that's fired off the back of an activity that a consumer has taken. It could also be that you've got a big database and every single consumer in that database has got a birthday on a different day. Now, based on a specific date, a birthday email would be triggered to be sent off to a consumer. Two more examples that I want to share with you is that potentially what happens is you have a customer that opens up an email that you've sent to them that could trigger the next email in the series being delivered. And let's use one more example is that let's say one of you as a sales agent completes an activity or a task. So let's just say you've had a meeting with somebody and you mark that task complete. It could trigger off an email to the consumer saying, thank you very much for meeting with me. I'll be in touch with next steps. So I hope that clarifies for you the difference between an email campaign versus a marketing journey. All right, any questions on that? Quite important. Okay, so next step. So customer journeys, and some people call this customer journeys, some people call this automated marketing automation, some people call it funnels. It's all the same thing. But basically at the end of the day, it's about you getting into a position where you can understand your customers. So based on things that they might want to know, questions that they ask, etc., you would be able to build journeys to deal with all these things. So let me put this into perspective for you. If you've got, a buyer as an example, a lot of your buyers would probably be thinking the same thing, but at different times. So some of the things they might be asking themselves are like, how good are the schools in the area? Can we afford this? How much space do we need? So it's about you predefining what those journeys look like. And if you can imagine you answering somebody in real time, and what that content would look like. When people talk about putting together content, it's about you being able to create a journey that answers those questions where the content is sitting on your LeadSquared platform ready to be delivered when somebody wants it on demand. Okay, so the key to any customer journey is basically making sure that you share information that is useful and relevant, okay, based on different buyer personas. And a buyer persona is something that even without you guys realizing it, nobody knows your buyer personas better than you do. So you're already, if I had to ask you, each one of you now, tell me 2 questions that a buyer typically asks. Some of you would probably come up with one that may be very similar to each other, and some of you will come up with one that's different. But the point I'm trying to make is that all of you will know exactly, at being property professionals, what buyers go through. But the trick here is to keep your communication as real as possible. So always, whenever you're drafting communication, think about how you would answer if you were having a conversation with somebody. That's what customer journeys and great content is about. So here's an example of a buyer persona, right? We've got this guy, Mark. At the moment, he lives in Durban, and he's received a job offer in Johannesburg. It's a brand new city to him. He's been at before, but he doesn't know the city. You know, he's been here for business, in and out. He's got a wife, he's got 2 children, and they're going to be moving up to Johannesburg together as a family. Now, you know already, just thinking about somebody like this, you guys have probably all dealt with a buyer that's relocating from another city before, and you know the kinds of questions that they ask you. So what I've done is I've put together a journey that I've got in mind. Now, I've put this together on a PowerPoint just so that you guys can see it and read it, because my handwriting is so bad. But I normally just have an A4 piece of paper in front of me when I'm building up my journeys, and I just draw it. I literally draw blocks and say, emailer, this is, you know, this is my journey. I draw the arrows, so you don't even have to go through this process. But if you are in a business that you're wanting to grow, as an example, or you're a principal of a business, or you're an agent that wants somebody in your business to create a journey in LeadSquared for you, in order for them to build what you want to be delivered in terms of a journey, you must give them your plan. And this is a plan. So let me talk you through it. So the first thing is that, remember, I've told you, if we go back to the slide, that I've just signed as the principal a mandate to sell a few apartments in Apple Road, London. I want to sell these apartments as quickly as possible. All right. And if I come back to my journey, what I'm going to be doing as step 1 is I'm going to create an emailer, all right, that I want to share with my buyers in my database that are looking for a property in London within this price range. And if you remember, in part 2, I showed you how to capture your seller information. Really important, because if you don't capture it, you're not going to have the information available for you to do this. And an Excel spreadsheet, unfortunately, or Google shared drive is not going to help you achieve this. So the first thing is I'm going to create my emailer. I'm also going to I've got on my phone, I've got WhatsApp, and I'm going to create a message and share it with people that are in my contacts as well. And I'm also going to create posts on Facebook and post daily, because I want to get as much awareness going about these apartments that I'm selling. All right. Now, that's step 1. So not everybody that is on my phone have I got an email address for, and obviously there's an untapped market on Facebook that I don't have their contact details for. So I'm going to use email, WhatsApp, and Facebook to drive traffic, all right, to a page, a landing page that is going to share with people information about these apartments that I've just listed. And I want them to get to this landing page, all right, because when they get to this landing page, I want to basically be able to determine, of the people who are interested in buying these apartments, which ones have been pre-qualified already. So which ones have got a bond approval, all right, and which ones don't. And based on that answer, I'm going to take different actions. So let me give you an example. If somebody gets to my page, so they're going to get my email, they're going to click on the email link, and it's going to take them to a page. If they say they don't have a pre-qualification, so the answer here is no, I'm going to follow up by sending them an email that asks them if I can get them pre-qualified. And if they say yes, I'm going to give them the opportunity to send me their documentation on their own, 24 hours a day, without me physically actually dealing with every single buyer. Okay, I only want to deal with them when they get to the point of being let me call it sales ready. Okay. I don't want to deal with those guys who like the apartment but are currently unemployed. So I want to use my journey to help me qualify my leads. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to review my leads and define the next nurturing step. If somebody says, yes, they are qualified, all right, that's one check already. So I'm going to give them points for that. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to know if they've got children, okay? Because if they do have children, I want to make it easy for people that are moving into this area, and I want to show that I actually know a little bit about the area that I'm selling in. So if they've got kids, I want to share with them some information about the schools in the area and actually offer them an introduction to the school to make things easier for somebody moving into the area. All right, and then I'm going to take the same step, review my leads, and whether, if you have a look here, whether somebody is qualified, yes or no, I'm still going to offer them a virtual property tour to create a VIP buyers list for those guys who just want to buy off plan, buy immediately. Okay, and once again, I'm going to review and define my next steps. So this is what we call a customer journey. And so some of you have been on my webinars before. When I say to you, if you can imagine it, you can create it inside LeadSquared. But the first thing is to actually draw out your journey that you have in mind. Most people, when you get access to a platform like LeadSquared, it's very tempting, all right, just to log into your system, and if you've got 100,000 contacts in your databases, go and create one email, okay, a broadcast emailer, like a do you want to sell, and hit everybody with that database. And then you sit back and panic because you have a whole lot of people that have said to you, why are you emailing me? I didn't ask for your communication. However, if you go this route where you are serving people content that they want at the right time, this is how you build relationships, and this is how you nurture leads at every stage in your funnel. All right. Very important that you understand the concept of planning and drawing out what your process flow looks like. Okay. And you can have a process for anything in your business, because that's what businesses run off, is a process and a system. Okay. Right. So I'm going to take you through the steps that I've done in order to create this journey. So step 2, I now know what my journey looks like, right? But wherever you see these email icons, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 emailers, I need to go and draw out, all right, and write out the content that I want to share in each one of my emailers. Now, I usually just do this on Word, okay? So what I've done over here is you'll see that where it says on my journey A, because I like to be meticulous and make sure that if I'm sending out an email over here, that it's got the correct content I want, it's laid out properly, etc. So if you come and look at my emailer A that I've created in LeadSquared, I've said over here, and I'm going to show you all of this in the platform shortly, but dear, and I've used what we call a merge field. Now, a merge field just means that LeadSquared will automatically go and look at that navy blue V card, and wherever it's got a name, it's going to say dear and pull in the person's first name automatically. And you can see I've kept it very casual and real, as if I was talking to somebody. When we last communicated, you were looking for a property in Linden. Take a look at this brand new listing. It's a really great deal. And what I've done is I've actually put in a video. This is obviously not me, but I've just taken a video here that I found off YouTube of an agent showing somebody, through telling somebody about this property. And while you're here, tell us how we can help you. This button, as you can see, takes them through to this page over here, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, what I want to show you is that the next emailer says, we have received your property inquiry. Would you mind sharing some information with us? Okay, so why are you looking to buy? And I've got a call to action here and a bond pre-qualification. So click here if you want us to help you get qualified. So that email number 1 is the email that goes off, all right, over here. So what I've done is I've done the same thing for emailer 2 and for emailer 3. And you'll see over here, I've said, dear first name, you mentioned you have kids in school. So that if that person says yes over here, that they've got kids, they're then going to get this emailer. So you've mentioned that you've got kids in school. So I thought I'd share some of the most popular schools in the area with you. Take a look. If they catch your attention, I'd be more than happy to do an introduction to the school for you. And, you know, relocating is stressful, and I bet you're worrying about a lot of things. I'm just trying to make it easier for you, just as an example. So I've taken my journey and I've basically written out all of my emails. All right. So step 3, once I've written out my emails, okay, because I don't like things to be haphazardly. I want the buyer to feel that it's flowing and it's real. They're getting this from me in real time, and it's not some automated thing that everybody gets. And that now, why I raise that is because many people say, but if there are 10,000 agents that all use the same system, all right, we're all going to be giving the customer the same thing. No, you will not be giving the customer the same thing, because all of your journeys will be unique, and the way that you communicate and the information you share with people will be unique. And that's where the magic lies. Okay, so let's go into LeadSquared now. And I want to go and show you, all right, how to build an email. And I also want to show you how to reuse existing templates to save time. So why do I say that? Because an email like this, as an example, with a new property, the only thing that would need to change here would be the name of the suburb and the video content. In this case over here, it would just be the page that you redirect it to. And in this emailer here, it would be based on the area. You would direct them to the local schools page that you've created for that particular suburb. So you don't have to recreate all the stuff over and over again. So let's go into LeadSquared quickly. Any questions so far? Okay. If you do have any that you want to save to the end, feel free to do that. So I've logged back into the profile that we've been using throughout the webinar series. And what I'm going to do over here is, let's just make this a little bit bigger for you guys again. At the top of the screen, you've got a menu bar here that says marketing. Now, you've also got one that says content. So under content, where you've got email library, this is the place that you go and create your emails that you're going to be using in your journeys. Now, you can see that here are the emailers that I've created for this particular customer journey, right? There are 5 of them there. Do you see that what I've done is I've also named them accordingly. So I've got, you remember there was the little letter A on the slide. So it says A, Apple Road Apartments just listed. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know exactly in what sequence I'm going to use these emails. And I don't have to try, you know, and guess what email to use. I'm going to use the right email at the right point in my automation. So what I want to show you quickly is, if we just go into this emailer quickly, you'll see if I scroll across the right-hand side, the first thing is that if your email is not published, so if it is in draft stage, you will not be able to send it out. Now, published means that it's ready and you can use it in a once-off send or in a journey. So I just want to go and edit something over here quickly. I just want to show you quickly what this looks like. So when you say create emailer, it's going to open a screen for you that looks like this, right? And this is essentially how I got my emailer created. So the first thing I did is I called it A, Apple Road Apartments just listed. This first name convention over here, this is so I can recognize which emailer this is. And the subject line, okay, very importantly, the subject line is like any emailer that you send out from your Outlook email at the moment, is that this is what the recipient of your emailer will see in the subject line. Okay, so they will not see this. This is just for you, but they will see this. So never forget to update your subject line and make it relevant. All right. Now, I have put in the merge field first name because I want to keep my information or email communication personalized to people that I share it with, because it increases your engagement. When people see something like, hi, Chantal, are you still looking in Linden? Immediately it looks like somebody knows me that's reaching out to me. And yes, I was looking in Linden, so I should have a look at this email. And it increases my chance of somebody actually opening my email, rather than just getting the same old subject line from everybody saying, just listed, or would you like a free valuation? You know, it's all about your content helping you stand out. So in this particular email, do you see when I hover over here, there's different, or click, there's different blocks, okay? Now, on the right-hand side of the screen over here is like these are the widgets you could use to build your email. So what I did is, so if I just take this away, all I did is I dragged and dropped the social widgets at the top of my email to say that I want these here so that people that receive my email can share my content, okay, across different social media channels. This is a text block, okay? Now you'll see when I click on the text box, it gives me the ability to go and change things over here, or you can use this menu bar. Now, for those of you who've used Word or Outlook, this is you'd be used to all of these kinds of widgets over here. But just to show you, if I wanted to change the font size as an example, and I wanted to change the color of the text, you know, I can do that as well. So all of that can be done by just using this control bar over here. If you want more colors, then you just click on the color palette. If I want to make things bold and underline, etc., that's how you do it. It's like using Word. If you decide that you don't want this block in here, you would just click the delete icon. Now, in this instance, where I've added this video, if you see, if I click on the video, it shows me that it's directing the video, well, the video is coming from YouTube. Okay, so basically all you need to do over here is that if you are putting in a video, just put in the YouTube link over here. All right, and then I've added another little text section over here, and I literally dragged this over here, and I literally typed this in to say, while you here, tell us how we can help you. Just showing you how I created that. And in this instance, I'm going to delete it so it's not duplicated. Then this button is basically taking people through to another URL. And in this case, I've created a landing page inside LeadSquared, which I'm going to show you shortly. And this landing page is going to ask them to give me more information. Now, in this instance, you can do many things in terms of sharing different content or letting people take different actions, which I'll share with you shortly. And once again, if you want to change any of the styles over here, you can just come across to the content settings and come and change anything you want to over here. All right. So if we come to the bottom, you'll see that I've put in kind regards. And the other thing that I've done here is I've put in an @ you see over here, there's a merge tag. So let me just take this out quickly. At the bottom here, there's something called merge tags. And wherever you've got text, it'll come up. Merge tags is, if you remember in part 1, we spoke about custom lead fields. Whatever custom lead fields you create, you can use to personalize your content. So in this case, you'll see if I wanted to put somebody's first name in, there it is over there. If I want to, I mean, there's hundreds of fields here. But in this case, I'm looking right at the bottom for something called send a signature. So it doesn't matter who sends this email out or uses this email within our business, it'll automatically put their signature on there. All right. Now, once you've done created your emailer, you want to press save. And it's always a good idea for you to press preview. And here you can see what your email is going to look like on desktop. And very importantly, LeadSquared automatically customizes your emails so that they are mobile responsive. So this is what it would look like if somebody opened it on their email. And you'll see it already has all the mailing preferences and opt-out requirements captured onto the email already. And once that's done, you're going to hit save and publish. All right. So I'm going to go back to contents and back to email library. Now let's say in 2 weeks' time, you want to go and create another just listed email. You don't have to recreate this whole email again. All you do is say add email template. I use the Visual Designer. Okay, rich text would just be a standard text email, but Visual Designer lets you put in, branding and videos, etc. Now, in this case, you can see it's a blank template, but I don't want to recreate that email from scratch. So I'm going to come here and say use template from library, and I'm going to look for the email that I want to use. Oh, there it is over there, A Apple Road Apartment. So when I click on that, it's going to load that email. But you see over here, there's no name convention set yet. So in this case, I'm going to call this A, and I'm going to call this Blueberry Road Just Listed Template as an example. And obviously, I need to change my subject line. Are you still looking in Blueberry Road? And I would go and customize my information. If I didn't have a video as an example and I wanted to put in a picture, then what I would do is just drag the picture widget over here, and I'd be able to go and upload a picture from my computer to this system over here, or I can literally just go and insert a picture that's I've already uploaded. If you have a look, that's what it looks like. Okay. And then I'm going to make sure that I drive them to the right landing page as well. So you would then press save and publish. So that just saves you time from having to recreate emails from scratch. All right. I hope that makes sense. So now if you come back to email library, you will see there is my Blueberry Road template I've created, and it's published. If you want to unpublish something, because maybe information has changed or it's an old campaign, we're no longer selling this particular apartment or flats, you would literally just say unpublish. And if you've unpublished an email, it won't be available on the list of emails in your library. And if you really want to delete something, you'd be able to just go and say delete. Now, this is why it's only administrators and marketing users that have got access to creating content, unless you, as a principal, decide that you want to give specific people access. Bear in mind that people will override templates, etc. So that is why it's normally the marketing people that create the content. Okay, so that is now dealing with emailers, and I've shown you how to build an email and how to reuse a template. The next thing I want to do is I want to show you the landing pages. Now let's just put this into perspective for you. When I send out, I showed you the mobile view of that emailer with the video that we've just edited together. When somebody clicks this button, it's going to take them to a landing page that I've created inside LeadSquared. And so what I've done is I've made sure that every single emailer that I use, all right, as you can see on these emailers here, has got a call to action. That's a call to action. That's a call to action, call to action. You can see over there, there's a call to action. I want them to do something, all right? And so when I build my landing pages, very important that when somebody clicks on this button, it actually takes them to the right place, or it works. So very important that, we take care of those things. And you'll see again for emailer 1, if they click over here, it's going to take them to a landing page that looks like this. And if they click on the second, the bond pre-qualification call to action, it's going to take them to a landing page that asks them to send me their pay slips, just as an example. If they clicked on the emailer asking about the schools, all right? And they said they wanted an introduction. It's going to take them here. And lastly, if they want a virtual tour of the property, it's going to take them here to get onto my VIP list. So what I want to do quickly is I want to go and show you how to build landing pages. All right. So we're going to build a landing page. We'll edit one that we've created, and I'm going to show you how you can reuse existing landing pages so that you don't have to build them over and over again. And things like creating a landing page to collect referrals that you want to use for 50, agents. You can just clone them and reuse the same template for every single one of your agents. So landing pages is really, really a phenomenal tool to have in your toolkit. So content email library we've worked on. Let's head over to marketing and go to landing pages. Right, so landing pages, you can see over here. Here are the landing pages that I've created, all right, for this particular customer journey that we want to create. And the first one that I want to show you is basically this one over here that says booking. So this is the first page. So when I send out my first emailer, all right, with the video with the lady standing on it, I'm going to direct them to this page over here. Right. Now, first things first is I want to show you that you can see already 4 people have viewed this page. 1 person has submitted their details. Okay, we're going to come back to how you can use this to super impress your sellers and get right into your buyers, because we know and you know that when you are selling a property, every week you're reviewing your buyers and trying to qualify them, and you're having to give your sellers feedback, etc. And you're following up on buyers from show days, etc. So when you create a new landing page, you're going to say create. All right. But for purposes of saving time today, I'm going to just hit edit over here, because you're literally going to land up on a page that looks like this. Obviously, you're going to choose your template first. So once your template loads, all right, the template that you've chosen, or it would be a blank template where you can, upload whatever images you want. But in this case, you'll see that this is the logo, my logo. This is the information that I've put in. I've uploaded these pictures behind it. If I wanted to go and change anything on this landing page, you can see this is just dummy data. So if I click on this, look what happens. Just gives me the ability to go and upload different images, just to show you how I've just changed that. And if I want to change any of the text, just to show you, it's literally like using Word. And once again, you can change the color of your text. You can bold it, underline it, whatever you want to do. So pretty straightforward. Okay, if you can double click on something and use Word and Outlook, you can build landing pages. No design or coding knowledge required. But the most important thing here is that when somebody gets to this page, I want them to be able to see all the information that they want to see about these apartments in Apple Road and Linden. So if you come down, you'll see I'm just telling them about, I'm putting in different information. This would look very familiar to you guys that have been in real estate, etc. Where is the property, etc. And then if we come back to the top, you'll see that I've created a form. Okay. Now, if I click on this form, if I wanted to change, I've put in here request a property viewing, but if I want to change this, I can go and literally just say request, let's just say request to view a property. I'm just showing you that you can change anything on your form. Right. Now, the next thing that I've done is I've actually created fields. Now, if you remember, I showed you how to create custom fields in part 1. If you double click over here anywhere on this form, it's going to bring all your fields that are going to be here are available for you to literally drag and drop onto your form. So literally by clicking on the plus type will bring your fields in. If you want to remove a field, just press the red section. Okay. And you can see what I've done here is I've created fields. What is your budget? Have you been pre-qualified? What suburbs are you interested in? Okay. And you will see if I click over here, like, have you been pre-qualified? Just as an example. It gives you the ability to change your display name, etc. here. And you can also change what you want your call to action to be and whatever the button color is. So you can change whatever that is. If you want to change this here, click now, just as an example, and press save. So you can see that building a landing page is basically 5 steps. The first step is selecting your template. 2 is building the page, what we've done now. Okay, very importantly is to set up your form in the right manner to select the right or ask for the right information you want. And step 3, okay, is now step 3 and step 4 are the most important, okay, after your form. So at the bottom of the screen or at the top of the screen, I'm just going to press save. And I just want to show you, very importantly, what happens behind your landing page. So the clever stuff that happens. So let's say next, so we can go to step 3. Now, you can see over here, it says to you, we're on step 3, the actions. So it's saying to you what happens after a visitor submits the information on that page. So what it's saying is if somebody fills in that form, what do you want to happen? Do you want to give them a thank you message? Do you want to redirect them to another URL? Or do you want them to download a document? So let's say you wanted them to download like a brochure of the actual apartments. You could do that here as well. So in this case, I've said just pop up a message saying, you know, above the form, thank you for reaching out, just as an example. Right. Then what I've done, if you scroll down, is I've said also immediately send an auto response email to the lead, the person who's filled in the form. Send it from, so I am the selling agent in this case, right? So if the marketing team was setting this up for me, they must make sure that the autoresponder must come from the agent that's actually selling these apartments. So they'll be able to select any agent from the list. And they will also update the subject line to say, thank you for your interest in the Apple Road apartments, just as an example. Include the unsubscribe link, okay, automatically. And here again, I can customize that email, personalize it. So I can say, hello, Chantel. We appreciate your interest in Apple Road apartments. We'll be in touch shortly. Please check your inbox for an important email we've just sent you. Because remember, we've got that journey that we've set up, and when they fill in this form, that's going to trigger my automation to now send them the next email in the series. And every single time a lead fills in that form, I want to get a notification, all right, as the agent who's selling, straight away, I want to get a notification to tell me that somebody has filled in the form on my landing page for the Apple Road apartments, so I get it on my email in real time. So this is what this is about. And for those of you who are principals and you want to be CC'd, or maybe you're working in a team, you can also add in, you can CC people over here that are, you know, in your team as well. All right. So if we scroll down, very importantly, when a lead comes in, okay, so when we're talking about a lead coming in, we're saying somebody's filled in that form on the landing page. Because this is a campaign that we're setting up for Chantel, we want the leads to be assigned to Chantel. So all the users that are in your team set up on LeadSquared will be here. So I don't want to get leads as a marketer and then manually have to go and give them to Chantel. Just as they come and send them to Chantel. And add these people to the Apple Road apartments in Linden list. You guys have worked with lists for many years, so you will have like a list for this and a list for people between this price range. You don't have to do that anymore. LeadSquared will do that for you automatically. So as soon as somebody fills in that form, what I'm telling LeadSquared to do is add them to this list. And if you want to create them to a different list, then you just create a new list. Okay, so here's all your Excel spreadsheets gone. Manually come into a list. And when somebody fills in that form, I want you to give them 10 points and apply a tag just so that I can see it on their lead screen that they are a potential Apple Road buyer. And I've ticked this box to say add these tags to the landing page of every lead. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to say save. We've now taken care of step 3. We're going to step 4. Right. This is like the hardest part. So let's go to step 4. Step 4 is basically going to now give me the opportunity to say, what do I want the title of the page? So this is what someone will see when they're looking at the page. So I've called it Apple Road Apartment Viewing Bookings. All right. And I've also put my meta keywords in and description because it'll help with your SEO, and that is something that you want to do on an ongoing basis. I mean, that's pretty much it. And I press save, and now I'm going to say publish. So my website is now live. So let me show you what we've built together. Okay, so there's the URL. This is the It's like when I say to you, give me your website address, you tell me www.apple.coza. In this case, this is the landing page that we've just created. So if somebody clicks on that URL, look what happens. I'm on a live website right now. So every time somebody fills in this form, it's going to automatically come into LeadSquared as a lead, and if there is an existing lead, it's not going to create a duplicate. It's just going to enrich that lead that is already there. Okay, and I'm interested in Lyndon, and let's just leave Lyndon and say click now. It's going to say thank you for reaching out, and now I, as the agent, is going to get a notification, and so is this lead going to get a notification saying thanks, we got your inquiry. Right. Does that make sense? So what we've basically done is we've created a landing page and published it. So I just want to put this into perspective for you. What we've done is when somebody clicks here, it's going to direct them to this page. But how do you get this URL that we've created? So that landing page you just created, how do we get that to sit behind this button? Okay. So if you have a look at your landing pages, there's the landing page we've just updated. So to get the URL, you just come here to this action cog and say, get landing page URL. There it is there. I'm just going to copy it. And what I want to do is I want to go back to that emailer. This is really important. And I'm going to go to Apple Road Apartments just listed, and I'm going to press edit. And behind that button, so if I just click on this button again, there we go. I'm going to take this link away here. And I'm going to paste the new link that I've just created on that landing page and press save. And I'm going to say save and publish. So that email is updated and it's got the link sitting behind it. So if somebody clicks here, they're going to end up on that landing page you've just created. All right. Now, we do that for every single landing page that we want in our series. All right. And now what I want to do is remember we've taken care, so we've built all the emailers and the landing pages in our journey, but there's two other things that I said that I was going to do to get awareness driven about my actual listing. I said I was going to send a WhatsApp to people, on my contact list on my phone, and I was also going to create posts on Facebook. Okay, but if we go back to LeadSquared and we go to our landing pages, I want to show you, this is what you must not do. Okay, and I'll show you what you must do. So let's just open some, let's just get our URL again. So there's the URL, all right, and we're going to get that URL. Now, you don't want to take this long URL and go and put it on Facebook or onto your WhatsApp. So you always want to short, there's many tools to do this, but the one that, I use on all the time is basically a site called bit.ly.com. It's a free tool, and all I do is I put in my long link here, especially when you guys, if you do decide to use SMS, you don't want to, remember, one SMS is 160 characters. So the reason why people shorten links is so that it doesn't take up all the characters that count as one SMS credit. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy the shortened link, all right? And I'm going to head off to Facebook. And this is LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever channels you guys use. Okay, and I'm going to go and create on my company page and on my page, but what I want to do is I'm going to go and create a post about this property. So I'm going to say something like, I have just listed this new property, but I'm not going to just leave the image that comes up like that. So you've got options. Now you want to test what works. So for some people, this will work, and for others, it won't. Okay, so this is one option. If you want to post tomorrow, as an example, because you don't just post once, you need to post every day and at different times, because we're all reading our phones at different times. So what you post this morning, I might not even get to see today at all. So if you want to change the image, just remove that thumbnail and go and add in another picture. All right. If you want to add in a video as an example, you can update that video link as well. So that's basically what you're going to be doing when you are putting together your posts on WhatsApp and on Facebook. This is what your notifications are going to look like every time somebody fills in the form. So you as an agent, when you're getting those notifications that we just set up behind the landing page, this is what you're going to get up on email. And when you click on this, it'll take you to the lead inside LeadSquared, just to show you that this is what this, leave. This is what a lead is going to look like. So if we come into this page over here, just want to show you quickly, you can see that here are there's been two submissions, but it's all by one person. So can you see over here that if I click over here, we'll see that here Chantal, she is the person who's actually come in. And as you can see, she viewed on the 26th of October, our landing page. She filled in a form, told us that she hasn't been pre-qualified. She is looking in Linden as an example, and that's her budget, right? So she's in our budget range, and the system automatically sent her an email saying, thank you. We set that email up together just now, right? So there's the email that she got. So this is basically what we've set up at this stage. Now, if you want to go and customize behind your landing pages, if you have a look at the landing pages here, behind each landing page, there's a whole lot of insight sitting here. So if you go and have a look at the Apple Road apartment viewing bookings and you click on it, behind it, like I clicked on my lead record, you'll see that it shows you the person's information. If you want to go and add on or customize your columns, like I've shown you in previous sessions as an example. So let's just say we want to see the field, have you been pre-qualified? Straight away, I can see this on my screen. Okay, and if I want to go, you see, have you been pre-qualified? So imagine there was a list of 30 different buyers here. Straight away, I'll see by the lead score, who is my best quality buyers and who's been qualified. And if I want to export this to go and sit and have a conversation with my seller, I've got my buyer reporting all available in real time in one place. Okay, so then the next step is that I want to show you quickly how we actually set up this automation. So first things first is we're going to come over here to automation, because now we want to build out that little series that we had put together on that slide. So I'm going to build it from scratch, and I'm going to say when a new lead, okay, is created. So essentially what I'm going to say is when a new lead comes in, and a lead would come in because they're basically going to fill in, all right, a form on one of my landing pages. So when somebody fills in the form on that page, okay, then what I want you to do is I want you to, if they basically fill in the form and they say they are pre-qualified, I want you then to do so if have you been pre-qualified is yes, right? Then what I want you to do is I want you to send them the next email in my sequence was this one over here, Apple Road. Let me just make sure which email it was. This is why it's so important to document it. So it was emailer 1. So we're going to send them that one over there and use, apologies, I did the wrong one. Send email, this one over there. Okay, and if they say no, then I was going to send them the other one about the video tour. Okay, and then I'm going to do things to say, well, if they open that email, then what I want you to do is I want you to send them this email, which was Apple Road 3. And so it goes on. If they say they've got kids as an example, then I want you to send them the school email. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Apple Road automation. And I'm going to press save. Okay, now I'm going to save it, but then I'm going to unpublish it when we're done because I don't want any live leads in the system to go through that automation. And I press publish. The moment I press publish, anybody who fills in that landing page or has a buyer suburb equal to Linden, in the case of my automation, is going to receive that communication. So if you want to see your automations that are published as an example, they'll be over here. So draft means nobody will go through that automation, but if I press publish, it will go through that automation. Now, the last thing I just want to show you quickly is sending out your email campaign, because remember, I want to get people to get to that landing page first. So I'm going to post on Facebook, I'm going to post on WhatsApp, and then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to send out an email campaign. So on my email campaign, I'm not sending it to everybody in my database. I'm sending out the email campaign to people who are looking in Linden within a specific price range. So I'm going to say create email campaign, and I've already created my first email. So there's my email over there, and I'm going to call this Apple Road new listing broadcast. And I'm going to call this a new listing category, and I'm going to say next. Same thing, it's going to ask me just to check my message. Right, so who do I want this email to come from? Once again, it's going to come from Chantel because she's the agent, right? And then it's going to ask me to test the content. So, and this is really important just to make sure that you're not making any mistakes. So I'm going to say send. We're about 2 minutes away from finishing, guys. I'm sorry. And then I'm going to say save. It's going to ask me now to select who do I want to send this emailer to. So this is when I'm going to go and search for the people in my database. So I'm going to say create a recipient list because I specifically want to go and look for people who are looking to buy in Linden in my database because I've been capturing my seller information. So where somebody is a seller and they're looking in preferred suburb, let's just have a look here quickly. They're looking to buy, buyer, not sellers, buyer requirements. So when they're looking in preferred suburb is Linden. And I'm also going to add in where my lead type is, it's buyer requirement Linden, yeah. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say find leads. It's going to go and look in my database to look if there's anybody that is looking to buy in Linden. So at the moment there's 24 people because LeadSquared segmenting my database for me. I'm going to save this as a dynamic list because this dynamic list is basically anybody that meets this criteria will automatically be added to my Linden list. But I don't want to just send it to Linden. I also want to look at my buyer requirements where their budget, so the price from is, let's say, between $1 million rand and 1.7 million rand, because that's, the price range of those. So I'll say all criteria find leads, and this is going to be my Linden list between 1 million and 1.6 million. So I save this list. Let's call it Linden buyers 1 million to 1.6 million. Okay, press save. And basically you can see there's 24 recipients on this list. I'm going to say add. I'm going to say this is my, let's just go Linden buyers list. And I'm literally going to say save. It's going to ask me to review my campaign on the next step and send yourself a test. And the last step will say to be send it. Now, I'm not going to send it out now because there are active people on this database, and I don't want to false advertise a listing that doesn't exist. But you'll be able to schedule that campaign over here to send it immediately, or let's say if you were doing it very late at night, you'd be able to schedule it to send it out, first thing in the morning. And that is basically how to send out a campaign that's now going to trigger off this automation. So there's the step that we've just done, sending out the broadcast, and that broadcast then will trigger off the rest of my automation that we've created inside LeadSquared. Does that make sense, guys? I'm hoping it's not so overwhelming as you thought it was. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording the session. I'm going to share the recording with you. As I promised I would.